Welcome back to another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. We are coming to you from the Oshner Health Podcast Studio out here in Irvine, California, where we've been for about the last 3 weeks covering the Saints out here at training camp. We're going to have more updates for you guys, talk about some of the stuff that we're seeing, and so much more on today's episode. But before we get into that, we're going to end up hitting a quick commercial break here. And while we're on that break, do me a favor, go to NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. Use the code CAMP24. Save 20% on your first payment. You get all of our content. That's our news, our analysis, extra podcasts, a post-game show, a pre-game show once the regular season starts, and so much more. And look, sign up. It'll support us. It'll help us do what we do, and you will get all that great content, and you'll be doing us a favor by helping us bring you the content that you like and hopefully love since you're watching it right now. So do that real quick. And if you need a new car, check out my guy, Matt Bowers, at one of his many dealerships throughout the Gulf Coast region. He's got great cars, great customer care, great prices. It is the best car buying experience that you can have. That's my guy. Our studio back home is right next door to his dealership on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. Go over there, get yourself a new Ford, treat yourself. You deserve it. And you also deserve that quick little break. So we're going to hit that right now. Here's a word from our great sponsors. Oshner Health and stronger communities through a combination of standard-setting expertise, quality, and connection not found anywhere else in the region. To learn more about how Oshner empowers people to get well and stay well, visit oshner.org. Long live you. The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out.
Choose your lucky symbol. Play beginner's luck. Win up to $5,000. Let's Taco Bout Bingo. Play Taco Bout Bingo. Win up to $50,000. Looking to triple your cash? Play 77777. Top prize of $177,777. Play the new August games from the lottery.
Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. Their agents are born and raised in the area and understand our community's unique needs and the homeowners insurance crisis our residents are currently in. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. They know your time is valuable, which is why they work diligently to provide you with the quotes as soon as possible. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. When we couldn't find someone to insure our house because of the big oak tree growing over top, Chabert worked until they found someone that would work with us and give us the protection that we need to feel safe in our new home. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hard Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. NewOrleans.Football is proud to be sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Make sure you check out their location on Veterans Boulevard. All right, let's get into the show.
Welcome into the Oshner Health Podcast Studio here in Irvine, California. It is now time for the NewOrleans.Football show. I'm Brandon Thomas, joined by Mike Triplett and Nick Underhill. All right, let's hit the first topic, guys, presented by Hard Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. The last two practices, we've seen the starting offense start to click, a little bit more than they did in Saturday's preseason game. In that game, we saw what we saw. The problems were obvious.
Yeah.
The real problem, Mike, you just wrote an article on it detailing it, right tackle. Kind of break down what happened.
Well, I mean, it's the same concern we've had about this offense all along. We love the theory of it. We love how much everyone's buying into it. We love how it should help Derek Carr. Derek Carr loves how it should help Derek Carr. We love how it should help the running game. The running backs like it. The receivers like it. But can they survive this offensive line? And it's tough because we did go out there. We went out there the last 2 days and we saw really good practices. Yesterday, Carr went 11 of 11. Today was off to a hot start before they had some penalty issues or whatever. Practice isn't the same as a game. And it's, it's tough. You take every positive thing you see with a grain of salt. And they might come out here against the Niners and put together a touchdown drive, and we still can't believe anything we see. So I don't know what to think. I don't know if I've lost any confidence in the offense, and it's good to see them bounce back like this. Nick had a really good point. We obviously have the concerns about that, but the passing game is finding its timing, and we wanted to see that. So I don't know. I'm a little torn. I'm probably about where I was at any point this offseason, still to this day. I wish I felt better about it 3 weeks out from the start of the season, but I don't feel worse about it.
I would say I think I've lost a little bit of optimism, just in the sense that there was a possibility of like, well, man, they got to be able to get this guy. Somebody has to be able to get Trevor Penning to be serviceable. Somebody has to make him serviceable, and we just haven't seen it yet. And with that evaporating, I think it does erode some confidence, and it's not getting better. I feel like it's getting maybe even worse. Like, it just feels worse this week than it has other weeks, and maybe that's because we saw it in the game, and like now it's unavoidable, and it's just kind of like, wow, like what happens? Where does it go from here? I don't have the confidence in that working. I don't, if you ask me today to make a judgment, I don't think it's gonna work. Like I don't know
the right tackle, not the offense.
No, not the offense, the right tackle. But without the idea of him there, it's concerning because like I don't love the other options. He feels like him just being okay felt like the best option out of all of them. I still remain kind of baffled that like it just isn't working. I don't understand why it doesn't. I can't really get my head around it. How is a guy that big, that strong, that athletic, like struggling the way he is? Like, how is Isaiah Foskey bull rushing him into hell? Like, it doesn't add up to me, and I struggle with it. And with that spot in flux, like I can't have confidence in it until I see something that gives me confidence in it, and I can't take worry out of it until there's a reason to take worry out of it. And I think I'm more concerned now because the worry is real. It's kind of like, well, what are we going to do if we can't pay our rent? And then when that eviction notice is up, it's a little bit different. And it feels like that notice is up on the door right now. Granted, there's 2-3 weeks until the season starts. So maybe, you have like a food drive and the I don't know, whatever you got to do, a yard sale, and you scratch some nickels together and figure it out. But it's worrisome to me. And I just don't see an outcome on that path right now. I know they're trying to figure it out, and I'm not closing the door on it. But if I have to look into the crystal ball, like, I can just look over top of the crystal ball and see what's there. Like, I don't need a vision. Like, the vision's there, and it's not working.
There was a lot of analogies.
It was.
It was. All right, 2 different points here. One, I lied when I said I feel the same. I do feel less confident because I'm less confident that there's a plan B. And this is the story that I wrote about today is, if not Trevor Penning, then who? And I think before training camp, I felt like, well, they've got other options. If Penning's not good at this, they can go to average garden variety right tackle. And I thought maybe Oli Udoh would be that. Maybe he still will be. I thought maybe Landon Young would be that. But I have not been impressed with what I've seen from Udoh or Young in practices either. Now, the idea of Udoh I still like because he's a veteran with 18 career starts, played in the system under Clint Kubiak before, and part of his rust is because he's coming off of a major injury, and so maybe he will get better and better as he gets back from that injury. They've started using him exclusively at right tackle in practice this week with the twos. It makes me think they're setting him up to be the other option. I don't know what's out there in free agency or anything like that, but yeah, I do feel worse about the fact that they don't have a good backup plan. So no matter what, I'm not going to feel good about right tackle. But the bigger question...
Hold on. I would kind of agree with your optimism in that sense. And it's like, optimism is a weird word. Like optimism to like making it replacement level. Like I do think
find replacement, or so I thought you could.
I do think that one of the things that pro scouting staff, Michael Parrington and them guys have done really well is like every single year they find those replacement level offensive linemen. And there's a few new guys on the team. Like, one of them probably is
Cameron Irving's still out there. They used him for a while last year.
We wouldn't have like walked into any season being like, wow, James Hurst, like, but like maybe that is Oli Udoh. Like, like coming out of that first game, I liked him. I thought he blocked well, 2 penalties, but I don't know, something about like I guess like that May mystery. Like I don't, you have like the optimism around everything, and it kind of felt like maybe wow, what if Penning is like okay, and he's like big and fast, and like if he can just be serviceable as a pass blocker, like maybe he can get down the field and block really well in the scheme. Like wow, that's going to be great for him. And it's just kind of like
it's disappointing to see. Oh no,
like the step down, even though the step down to the next guy is probably a step up in ability, it just feels.
You wanted door number
different.
3. We wanted door number. We were hoping there was a door number 3, and that definitely hasn't emerged. But here's the bigger question that I wanted after watching you on Twitter today.
Oh God.
So how do we marry this like depression over? We realize there's no door number 3, but then we go out and we see the offense actually improving in other areas, and we still like have optimism for what this offense can do for Derek Carr. Like, what? Like, I think it's the title of the show. What's the state of the offense right now? How do you feel about not the worry spot, but the offense itself? Like, where's optimism on the overall offense being able to come together and maybe mask some of those problems?
I think I'm just a little bit underwhelmed with everything right now, a little bit. And yeah, I mean, they've had a couple sharp days, like 9 of 9, 11 of 11, however you want to score yesterday, which was, what day of the week is it? Today's Wednesday. So on Tuesday, like whatever it was, there was 2 pop passes, shovel passes, you want to count them, whatever. Call it 11-11. After seeing that, and then today, like they only missed 5, I think, out of 23, and one of them was a throwaway. Like, so another one was a diagnosed screen. So like they were hitting their passes. The timing did feel like it was on point, and I thought that was something that I was kind of worried about in the game because it felt like that aspect of it was just kind of off, and they came back and it feels like they fixed some of that coming into these practices, and that's a good thing. But I think I'm just like a little bit worried about just, I'm not in Alvin's sidelined and he hasn't, so there's an aspect of that, but like I feel a little bit underwhelmed by the running offense right now, and I feel like the running offense needs to be really good, like to help Derek. I'm underwhelmed by wide receiver 3. I feel like you need to do more to help Derek. I'm kind of underwhelmed by the tight ends. And you look over to the side, and Jawan's over there doing some stuff. It looks like he's getting closer. Maybe he's the answer to it. I'm a little bit underwhelmed by that. So I just kind of feel like I'm a little bit underwhelmed by a lot of things right now. And then you see Atlanta get Judon, and they might get Simmons, and it just kind of feels like, man, like this is I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna end up, and I don't like that. Like we're kind of at the end of this California trip. Mm-hmm. We got one more show to do here, 2 more practices to watch, and it just feels like we're going to exit California
not knowing,
not knowing, and maybe we do know, and it's just not it's not the way we want it to look. Like maybe that's it. I don't think it looks bad. It's just nothing. I'm not out here. I'm like, this is definitely it. Like, and it might be. I like the scheme. I like the idea behind a lot of stuff. I like how they're using people. I do like some of the stuff we see from the run game, but I don't like some of the stuff we see from the run game. Like, there's just a lot of stuff where it's kind of like iffy, but like the main thing is all the pressure.
You
like,
nailed it.
That's
nailed
the
it.
biggest
Look,
thing.
I don't think there's a big mystery about what Derek Carr is. Like, I think he's better than a lot of people think he is, and I think his ceiling is about where a lot of people think it is. I think you need to give him a good running game, and you need to give him a good foundation, and that's something I have zero information on. Like, because they don't tackle in practice. Like, it hasn't wowed as much as I would hope while not being tackled, but we need to see that in real games. Like, if they give him a running game, and if they're going to give him 2nd and 5s, but in the game itself and in some of these situations today because of penalties, like we're still seeing 3rd and 12s and 3rd and 18s, and it's sunk. It's sunk if it can't be 2nd and 5. Like did they fix the running game? And that's something we have very little information on, to be honest, because we haven't seen live tackling except for 9 snaps of offense. So that you're right. That's gonna be the key to the whole thing.
I'm gonna go back to the guy that I kind of was hyping during the offseason, and he's been probably the biggest disappointment at training camp. But I feel like a lot rides on Kendre Miller. Yeah. Like if you tell me Kendre Miller comes out here and he makes you feel okay about using a 3rd round pick on him, I feel completely different about the run game. I think he's key. I really feel like he's a vital piece of this team.
I'm worried.
I'm worried too. But like if you I'm sorry, but like I think he's a massive upgrade over everyone that isn't Alvin, and the idea of him, what we saw last year in spurts, I just like him I don't know if he'll pick up the offense, but like the idea of him athletically, what he looked like, it's better than the other guys on the team. Like I think he's more talented than him. Does he fit better than him? I don't know because we haven't seen him. That's the problem. But I think he's important.
We haven't even gotten a real taste of what Kendrick Miller looks like in this offense because he went out during the first period of the first training camp practice. So
I think it was his
6
first
months
snap.
ago.
Like, yeah,
It was
like
first-
6
the
months
first
ago.
rap in individual drill.
yeah, so that's a lot to hang your hat on, but it's going to have to come together. They're going to have to figure something out. But let's go on a more positive note. Back to the 2022 draft class. Alontae Taylor, it was supposed to be a battle between him and Kool-Aid McKinstry coming into this training camp. He's clearly just grown. DA talked about it a little bit yesterday. Kind of what have you seen from Alontae, and is he the most improved player during this camp?
Most improved player during this camp. Yeah, maybe so. He might be. I mean, I
Presented by Aaron Rose. Yeah.
I mean, we gave this honor to Jake Haener in OTAs and minicamp. Well, Spencer Rattler's probably the other contender because I think Rattler's made a leap from spring to summer. But if we're talking 2023 to 2024, I think Alontae's by far and away the guy, don't you think? Like, it's shades of a Debo last year almost, like, to me. He turned what we listed as our number one competition almost into a non-competition. I mean, you could say the same for Pete Werner and Willie Gay, but then Werner's missed time with an injury. But I think it's definitely Alontae. I think maybe Rattler and Haener are other candidates for the job. But, yeah, Alontae's exceeded my expectations for sure. I mean, and I think he is feeling so much confidence based off of what he's done in the first 2 weeks of camp. He looked even better in the third week of camp. I mean, he was going head to head with Olave, especially with Lattimore and Adebo out. He's now the number one guy, and he's not shying away from that at all. He's making life tough for Chris Olave in 11-on-11s and 1-on-1s. Dennis Allen, like we always talk about, how we can read Dennis Allen's body language, but his definitive answer on how impressed he's been by Alontae Taylor was unquestionable. Like, they're seeing the same things we are.
He looks great. Yeah, he does. He looks great, playing with a lot more confidence. If he can maintain it and be consistent,
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to take a huge jump forward. The consistency with him is really kind of the thing, though. But there's no doubt that he's embraced the role. That he looks like the technique's way better. That he's comfortable playing in the slot. Like, he did the work this offseason to mitigate whatever issues he had there. So definitely that. And yeah, I agree. Spencer Rattler's on that list too. Let's say it's week one. There's an injury at quarterback now. Today's week one. It's Carolina game. You're the coach of the team.
I'm the coach of the team.
You are the coach of the team.
I'm not predicting what they're going to do. It's up to me.
You're the coach of the team. Mike Triplett. Being Mike Triplett. You're the coach of the team. There's an injury at quarterback. Who are you putting in the game?
Week one?
Week one. Right now.
I need one more. I need one more qualifier. Can I ask one more thing?
Mm-hmm.
Is Carr coming back within 3 to 4 weeks, or he's out for the year?
He just got knocked out of the game. You have no information. You got to send someone in for the next snap.
Oh, okay. So we're not talking about the next week's starter.
No.
Yeah, Haener.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, week one, yeah. I like if Carr's going to miss the season, I want to consider Rattler and be like, you know what, this is kind of a sunk season. Let's give him the year to grow and develop or whatever. But if it's like we just got to get out of here and try to hold it together, then I may be going for that. I don't even know why I think Haener is safer. He has no experience whatsoever. But I think that's sort of a tiebreaker delineation between the two. If we're talking about the rest of the season, I might lean more toward Rattler.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But I think Haener's a little ahead of him still right now as far as like who's actually going to be wearing that headset and one snap away from playing in week one. Because even when we hear people talk behind the scenes about Rattler, we see all the exciting things. But of course he still needs there's the subtleties that we can't even know what he's not like. Did he look at the wrong read? Did he take off running when he missed a wide open read here? Like, we don't know those things because we don't know what they're privy to.
Yeah, is he bailing on certain coverages too soon and stuff like that? I mean, that's both of them. But yeah, I think that's fair analysis. I think that's fair. I think yeah, definitely. Like if it's 4 weeks or whatever, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, like no hesitation. I'm just going for it, and I'm gonna find out and see what it can be. Yeah, if it's next snap, I don't know. I could go either way with it. I feel like it's kind of that close. Like I really do. Like for the next snap, like I think both of them should be on the team, though. I think you should be happy both of them are on the team.
I agree, and I know they are.
Yeah.
I mean, we know they are. They feel like I have not heard people say we've got to steal the draft. We've got our Mahomes. Like, you know, and we're not hearing anything like that. But at least in terms of mid-round picks, sometimes you hit on those, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
They feel like they hit on 2. They really do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, no, they're both exciting, though. I can't wait to see him this weekend. I mean, he could go out here and just light it up. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen in the next game, but I know I'm more excited to watch him than the other 2 quarterbacks, no doubt about it.
No question.
Can I add another qualifier?
Yeah.
Are we down?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Down on what?
Are you
Like
down by
the
7
score.
or are
Yeah,
you protecting
the
the
score.
lead?
Like,
No, but you can add that qualifier. That's a good question. But you're making that decision before you go into the stadium. I mean, you know who your backup quarterbacks are.
Yeah,
You got to
okay.
list the other
Okay,
guys in
okay,
emergency.
okay, I got
But
you.
that is a good question.
Yeah, nah.
Rattler's your if you're down guy.
Yeah.
You know, by 14, you're like,
Hey, you might as well see what
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happened. But nah, up front right now at this current point, Jake, he would be the guy that I would choose. I mean, but if it's it for the season for Derek, yeah, definitely going with Rattler. Well, now it's time for our next segment presented by Shire Insurance, the Earhart Agency. As you alluded to earlier, Alvin Kamara is out. He missed yesterday's practice with back tightness. Also, he missed today's practice. And A.T. Perry went out with an ankle sprain, as DA described it. How critical are these injuries, and what's more going to affect this offense?
I'm not worried about Alvin's going into the season or anything. That I don't have any information on ATs. I don't think you've heard anything either, because we would have had that conversation at some point. So I'm not.
yeah, I mean, I hate to come on here and say we don't know, but
Yeah,
we
don't know
can't
yet.
ignore these 2 injuries because these two injuries, 2 injury-related issues, because they're major and they're 2 different things. One, A.T. Perry is an ankle injury. Now, look, we did watch him walk a long way off the field, back under his own power. I mean, I feel like if we're talking like Michael Thomas level ankle injury, 9 weeks type of ankle injury, I don't feel like he would have slowly walked with one trainer all the way back. Like, he might have needed to be helped. They might have pulled a card out for him. But can A.T. Perry even miss 2 weeks right now? Like, he was finally coming on. I think he did enough to say, this is why you had such high hopes
he's making
for
the
me.
team. I think he's making the team.
But
Yeah.
I mean, they could put him on IR, I guess, to start the season, bring him back in October. But is he going to be the number 3 or 4 receiver in week 1? I mean, he needed these 3 weeks. He needed him bad.
He did.
That's a guy who, if we had done a show on Sunday, who cannot afford to be injured for the rest of camp, A.T. Perry might have been the first name we said.
Yeah, I
He
do
needs this seasoning.
I do think, though, that he there's a clear separation between Chris Olave, Rashid, Cedric Wilson, A.T. Perry, and then there's like a drop.
Yeah.
Like in Tipton somewhere in there. You know, I think he's someone that needs to be out there practicing a little bit. But I do think there's kind of like it's A.T. Perry and then like Kevin Austin. Like there's a pretty big gap between.
I mean,
them.
I guess is Equanimous St. Brown because he's been there and he's done that.
He hasn't done nothing though,
right,
like, in a long
right. But
time
I
either.
mean, like in the league, but like that's what A.T. Perry needed. Like A.T. Perry couldn't redshirt. Like A.T. Perry needed every practice snap, every game rep
for development.
Yeah. I don't like that he's going to show up in week 1 or week 2 now or week 3 now and miss this.
No doubt.
That's going to set him back when he was already set back and
Yeah,
finally coming into his own.
Yeah.
I think the timing really I think it's one of the most disappointing. Although Cesar Ruiz left practice today for a little while and came back and finished. And I was thinking, oh my God, put Cesar Ruiz. Eric McCoy's probably like, it's like Carr, McCoy, Ruiz. Like, I was like, it's over. Like,
Yeah,
it is over if
Yeah.
Cesar Ruiz is hurt.
When he came off the field, he was cussing. He came
Yeah.
off. He's
Oh,
on
yeah.
the sideline.
Yeah.
Trainer comes over. They're looking at his knee, and then they like walk off. And I was like, oh my God, it's
Like,
it's a
over.
wrap.
It was crazy because like we were just like quiet. We were just was like,
We're like, oh, damn.
hey man.
I'm just
And
like,
like that
I
has
don't
been
know.
our biggest. That has been my biggest. Like back to record predictions, 8 and 9, whatever. Can they be like? There are 6, 7 guys that they're just like
Yeah.
Please keep those people on the field because they have no backup plan, and he is one of them. But
I was legitimately sitting there like, how am I going to tell them this happened? Like they're going to be
The
so
people?
upset. Yeah. Yeah.
me too. Oh God.
Good news on the injury thing. I heard today that Marshawn should be back before the That it's not a threat for the start of the season.
That's
The
good. And we've seen
expectation is
him
not a
doing
threat.
more
It's
and
not a
more,
threat
so
for the
that's
start of the season.
That's
Yeah.
good. But anyway, A.T. Perry's a different category. He needed it for himself, not for the team. But Alvin, look, I'm not gonna. Since we don't know anything, I'm not gonna suggest that he's actually faking an injury and it's a contract holdout. But I mean, if somebody were to hold him, they'd have back tightness. So, I mean, it just adds another layer of cloud of mystery. I felt really good when Alvin was out here, showed up for the first day of training camp, performed in every snap of every practice, and not seeing Alvin out there for 2 days. He's another one of those guys on that short list of, I feel a lot better about this team with Alvin on it than I do without. So, DA said he is not concerned about the injury, and it's something Alvin dealt with before. And calling it back tightness and the fact that he did walkthroughs before he left, makes it feel like there's not a serious injury concern. But there's just, as long as the contract, it's a reminder that the contract thing still lingers on this team. They never solved that. Alvin is a guy that you wish was in this box of people I have no worries about whatsoever, and him not being on the practice field puts him in the box of worries. So.
That'll do it for this first half of the NewOrleans.Football show. Stick around because when we come back, we'll get into position battles and hit the Martin question of the day. Check out our sponsors. Catch you.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana. They were founded in 1980 and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. And Total Maintenance wants to show some love to our NOF listeners. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. It will never increase. Total Maintenance has a tune-up special running this summer for $79, down from the normal price of $179. This is a one-time offer for one system only. They also offer a free diagnostic on second opinions on units deemed to be unrepairable, and they offer free estimates for replacements as well as commercial maintenance programs. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. Martin Wine and Spirits is home to a selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and much, much more. They are family owned and operated since 1946 and specialize in wine, spirits, gourmet food, gift baskets, catering, and tasting events. They have many locations, so they're never too far away. You can check them out in Metairie, New Orleans, Mandeville, and Baton Rouge, or if it's more convenient, you can always shop online. Whether you're a wine novice or a seasoned collector, you'll enjoy the Martin Wine and Spirit experience.
Shrimp Remoulade combos are back at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company. Zesty shrimp remoulade served with fried shrimp, catfish, or soft-shell crab starting at $10.99. Or try one of our spring specials, catfish lafitte or lemon caper fish with crab meat, now at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company.
There's nothing quite like the feeling of stepping into your dream home. At Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union, we can help make that dream a reality with a team dedicated to you. When you partner with Jefferson Financial, you do so for the life of the loan. Having a single point of contact when questions arise is invaluable. Our experts are here to guide you every step of the way. There's no better time to invest in your future. Apply online at jeffersonfinancial.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811 Conti Street.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Ocean Health Podcast Studio. It is now time for our next segment presented by the Louisiana Lottery. Look, the kicker battle is turned from more into a battle to a gamble. It's kind of like shooting dice and Monopoly, trying to see.
Like buying a lottery ticket.
Definitely like buying a lottery ticket. No doubt about that. So, Blake Groupie, he came in with the favorite, but he hasn't really shown that he's the answer at kicker. Kind of where have you seen him struggle at, and what do you think the battle is going to end up being?
Yeah, I mean, look, Groupie needed to come into here and like kind of buy up all the monopoly houses and make sure nobody could come in and get any, because when you run out of the 30, you're out of the 30 and you can't build hotels or whatever.
I never knew about that rule.
Yeah, so like
until
that's
we started living together in this house.
that's kind of what Groupie needed to do. But you know, I don't know. He missed some kicks today, and it kind of felt like trading a red for a light blue. You know, like that's not something you want to do. So. Yeah, they were in the wind, like, but the situations and 59 yards, like all that stuff, like I get it, like I understand him missing some of those kicks today, but like it just doesn't feel like he's shut the door. He's not shut the door. And I think a couple shows ago, like we had the conversation, and you acutely said you weren't there yet, and I said I'm confident. I'm gonna walk that one back a little bit. Like I still think Groupie could win it, but he's got something to prove now.
Okay, well, first of all, I love the Charlie Smith story. It's an incredible story. Like a year ago, he had never kicked in American football through uprights. He had never even tried it. And then he kicks the game winner in the preseason. I do not want to take anything away from how wonderful that story is. They have a practice squad spot reserved for him this year, an extra bonus practice squad spot through the international program. That is, I don't think that's a great plan A, though. Like develop him. He's got a strong leg. Before practice, you're watching him kick 66-yarders through the uprights. You're watching him miss some other one. Like, we've seen him. They've both missed double-digit kicks in camp, which is disturbing. So I don't love, like, go with Charlie Smith. They're both missing 12 kicks anyway. Go with the guy with the strong leg. I would like the guy who's only missed 4 kicks in camp. Like, I mean, we saw Will Lutz last year. He didn't make this team, and I think he only missed like 5 or 6 in all of camp until he had a really rough day in the last week. This is not what I want to see from the sure thing of the two. The fact that it's like a tie right now is a real indictment on Groupie. I almost think it's 40% Groupie, 30% Smith, 30%.
Yeah,
somebody else's
they're
veteran off
with the league.
street.
Yeah, they're competing with the league, no doubt.
And I came into this offseason.
Yeah,
I came into this offseason thinking I love the concept of Groupie. He got through the turbulent rookie year last year. And they kept having confidence in him, and he got through all that. And so now he's the more comfortable veteran. Been there, done that. He can settle in. And I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more consistency than we see. You're right. 2 of his misses today were 58-yarders into the win. Maybe a lot of kickers would have missed those. But he was still 6 of 10, and now he's missed like 11 or 12 throughout camp. I wanted to see him shut the door. I wanted to see him make this obvious.
Yeah. I agree with all that. Yeah, no, it's been shaky. I mean, it's definitely been shaky both ways. I mean, I definitely hope Charlie Smith wins a job somewhere, because like I want to watch the movie. Like it's going to be a really good movie. It's going to be like Invincible, like that type of movie. Yeah, and like maybe they'll throw us in the press box in that scene or whatever, and we'll be like, oh my god, he can kick from 70. Like that'd be a cool scene. But like, yeah, I don't know if he's there yet. I think he could get there though. Like he's good, and I think he's gotten a lot better. Like. You remember his kicks in like mini camp? They kind of like all felt like they were like curving. And like now I don't really see that curvature. They feel more direct, deliberate kicks, like going straight. I think he's gonna get there eventually. I just don't know if it's gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be in 3 weeks. It could be, but like I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm not betting against him eventually. Yeah, I mean, like yesterday, I was standing right behind the goalpost, and his first 5 kicks were right down Main Street, we even like I probably jinxed him, but we're like, has he ever had a day where he's made all his kicks and then he missed the next 2? And it's just like that's kind of typical. He makes like 5 out of 7, but you know, hopefully he can get to 6 out of 7, and then you're a great NFL kicker.
Who are like the Irish actors?
Colin Farrell, can he play
he's a little.
Wait, what about the other guy that was in that Colin Farrell movie that's in everything now?
Cillian Murphy, the O'Dowd guy.
No.
Those are the only ones. Liam Neeson, I think. Is
Barry. No, what's his name?
I think Liam Neeson's Irish, but he's
Barry Keegan.
He's not in the mix. We don't want Liam in the mix.
Keegan.
I don't know who y'all are talking
Barry
about.
Keoghan. That he kind of looks like him too.
Who is
Google Barry Keoghan. He's perfect. He was like nominated for Best Supporting Actor in
all right, yeah,
in a movie last year.
Oh, he's shout out to our guy Joe. He dates Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
He kind of looks like Joe too.
Apparently, it says partner on Wikipedia. Okay.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, he was in Dunkirk. Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, this guy. Okay, yeah, we'll go with this guy.
Right.
No idea almost any of the
nailed it.
names y'all just said.
Now we just
I don't
need to
even
figure
know.
out who can play right tackle for the Saints. And
That's
our
fact.
casting decisions.
I was about to say, I don't even know what Invincible is, but
Come on, son.
what is it?
That's Mark Wahlberg, man. He plays the dude that Vince Papale. Like he tried out for the Eagles. Like it's a great
the bartender
movie.
just shows up and gets on the Eagles for 5 years. Yeah, it's a great movie. Spoiler alert.
Must have
but
been during the strike or something.
no,
was it?
it
He
was.
just-
No, they
It was
just had
like the
open
coach
It's like
wanted
Michael
to make
Lewis?
a point. The coach was like wanting to make, like Michael Lewis and Beer Man,
Okay.
which I can't believe hasn't become a movie too.
Hey, learn something new every day.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why I hang around you guys. You guys teach me a lot.
Okay.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
All right.
Good people to be around. That'll take us to our next segment presented by New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company. Another battle that's been hyped kind of during the offseason, but then fell off a little bit, but then came back very strong with the introduction kind of somewhat of Justin Simmons is the safety battle. And Dennis Allen, he wasn't really saying that was a great thing that the battle was still wide open. So kind of describe how the safety battle is shaping up and who you think maybe will be able to take the reins if the Saints don't have Justin Simmons.
This is going the way of right tackle for me, but not as concerning. We thought they have so many good candidates that somebody like, hey, if Jordan Howden doesn't win it, then proven veteran Will Harris or proven veteran Jonathan Abram can win it. The fact that none of these guys Dennis Allen keeps saying it. He said the same thing about right tackle they said about safety is I'm waiting for someone to just show up out here and say, this is my job, and we haven't seen that yet. And the fact that Jordan Howden looks like he's running third right now, at least based on usage and practice. I think that's the start. I think we felt good. I'm not like overly worried because no matter what, you're going to be talking about the fifth most important and fifth best player in the secondary when they're in their nickel defense, and the other four guys are going to be really good and they're going to be able to mask a lot. But I thought somebody would have stepped up and made us feel more comfortable about this battle by now.
Yeah. So like, it looked like the last 2 days it's been Will Harris, Abram, and then Howden. I don't know if the order is indicative of anything or not. Maybe they just wanted Howden in a late game situation. I don't know, but it's not what you want to see. You don't want a 3-man rotation 16 days into camp. That's not ideal. You know, this kind of just feeds into kind of everything. It's kind of like, here are the list of questions, and like all the list of questions just kind of feel like they aren't getting answered the way you want them to. Like you wanted Jordan Howden to run away with this. Very first day of camp, my first day of camp, I was like, oh, Will Harris might make the team. Like, but I didn't expect him to be in the mix to be the starting safety. And it feels like he's in that mix. Bringing in Simmons, I think is I think it shows kind of how they feel about the whole thing. If you're looking at other options, you don't feel great about your options, and it's obvious they don't. But I think they can be okay here. Like, this is the one where you feel like they can gloss it over, but it's not a thriving spot, and you wanted Jordan Howden to be that. I think that was the ideal outcome, and it just doesn't. It doesn't
mean he won't win it, but he's obviously not running away with it, which is what you wanted.
Yeah,
to see.
you want him to be able to throw a knockout punch to some
Same
of these
thing
other
when he
guys
said about
that are on the
grouping.
team.
Yeah, like he was like the one guy who knew the rule about all the houses in Monopoly, and he didn't use them.
Yeah, right. I feel like they got a solid. I feel like they got a solid setup of guys there. Solid NFL players, like all of them. All of them deserve to be on a team. But you want your number 2 guy to be able to run away from the rest of that pack and have those guys be comfortably slotted as safety 3, safety 4, where they should be. And it just feels like a lot of 3s.
Yeah, completely agree.
Can't put it any better than that, man, because I didn't realize until the first segment.
Outside of Tyron. Outside of
Tyron. Yeah. There are more questions at this point. Like, none of those questions have been answered. And we're
back
deep
to the
into
A.T. Perry segment.
We're deep in the camp.
Receiver depth is a bigger question mark for me now. I like Cedric Wilson. I always liked him as the 3, but I thought, maybe Bud Means or maybe A.T. Perry or maybe Equinemius St. Brown or, and none of those guys has answered anything for us.
None of those guys. Now it's time for the Martin Wine and Spirits question of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's, so much more than just wine. Today's question comes from Mike Wood. Mike asks, would you trade someone like Jake Haener or Peyton Turner to bolster the O-line?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would take. I don't love the idea of taking like Peyton Turner off the line. I'm kind of excited about what he can do. And I think he gives you deep depth at that spot.
And less excited about Foskey after
first preseason
game than we were before.
Yeah. Yes, yes, a lot of yeses there. But yeah, I would. I'm so worried about the O-line that I would be willing to peel something off from there, and definitely I'd trade one of the quarterbacks.
Shout out to Mike Wood. I thought those were. I think those are two really good names. Like we talked about, does it have to be Marshawn Lattimore? Does it like?
I'm not trading Rattler though.
Right.
Yeah.
But nobody wants your junk. Like somebody wants your something, and these are some things. Like that would be hard to get rid of Jake Haener, and it'd be hard to get rid of Peyton Turner. But yeah, like you got to give something to get something. So
do you get a top 60 OT for one of those guys though?
No, but can I get your offensive tackle version of Jake Haener? Like I wish I knew what the example was. Like, does somebody else have a second or third year offensive tackle that has been getting in there as the sixth jumbo tight end, and there's just not a spot for him, and change of scenery? Like both of the Jake Haener gets a number 2 job somewhere. This guy gets a starting job somewhere.
Like the AJ Klein of offensive tackles.
Yeah,
he's stuck behind Kuechly, and he can. He's good enough to carve out an 11-year NFL career. Did you know AJ Klein got 11 years in the NFL?
He was he was better in New Orleans than he was in Carolina. He was better in Buffalo than he was in New Orleans.
Edwin told me that the other day, and I was like, 11. Like this dude, I had no idea. Like it's crazy. Yeah. Like that.
I wish I could put a name on it, but those guys do exist that are like, yeah, we've got a really good young third-year pro that there's just not a spot for them, and the Saints pro personnel department, as you said earlier, is terrific. Parrington and those guys do a great job of. They probably have a list of guys they'd want, and maybe somebody would take a Jake Haener or Peyton Turner for a Jake Haener or Peyton Turner level offensive lineman. That would be great. Like
if you gave me the AJ Klein of offensive tackles, like. It's not. You're still looking for DeMario next year, but like you're fine for a year. Like that would make me feel so much better about this team.
And just because we don't know those players' names, we don't know their names because they haven't been starting in the league, but they do exist. They really do.
Like
exist.
if AJ Klein was out of the division, I wouldn't have been like necessarily locked in on him before.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're talking about AJ Klein in Carolina, just to make it clear, not the version that the Saints had. Like Jermon Bushrod's around camp a lot. He kind of reminds me of that. He waited his turn for a little while in New Orleans as like a 4th-round draft pick who was like waiting his turn behind. Oh my gosh!
They're like a street, like street found the way to start.
Yeah. Like give me one of those guys.
Yeah, you give me a street.
I feel so much better about this team.
Yeah,
it gets way better in those type of situations. Well, that'll do it for this episode of NewOrleans.Football. If you're already subscribed, make sure you stick around for overtime because we see y'all in here. We're going to answer the questions. And if you're not subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe because Mike put out a great article detailing the right tackle position, and we'll continue to put out stuff throughout the season, the best Saints coverage there is. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football. Catch you next time.